I think that the AI companies are trying to sell themselves as something that they are not yet able to do or that they will never be able to do. There are some that are going to revolutionize the world, but every single AI company says that they're going to revolutionize the world. It's just not possible.
That is Chris Martinez. He's a 4-time author, 2-time Stevie Award winner, and an expert in scaling companies. Chris is currently a new partner and president at BPO Solutions, where they help high-growth companies and private equity firms scale their labor operations profitably through finding and sourcing talent in Latin America. And today, we get into all of that, plus a ton more on how AI is changing the hiring landscape. So this is super important if you're a person who's hiring for a company, you're a founder of a company, or maybe you're someone looking to get hired by a company in the next 2, 3, 4 years. This is something that you're going to want to pay attention to. So I hope you enjoy my interview with Chris Martinez. Chris, it's good to see you again, man.
You too.
It's been a while. I think last time I saw you was in San Diego, and I think it was at your Agency Freedom Live event, which was a lot of fun.
That was a long time ago. That was almost a year ago.
Almost a year ago. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Time flies.
so-
And obviously many
well,
things change. So
yeah.
that's part of the reason why we're here.
Yeah. Big
But
time.
exciting
Big
stuff.
time, man. Well, the reason I wanted to get you on is because at the time of this recording, so funny. So yesterday, I didn't intentionally plan to do this, but I was driving around and I'm using Spotify now. And Spotify has this weird thing where, unlike Apple, which I used for years, it'll just auto play the next episode. It'll just kind of like find an episode in your feed, like that you from a podcast you subscribe to, and just start playing it. And the funniest thing was like, it kind of prepped me for this interview, which I want to talk about, which is around hiring and AI, which is a huge topic right now. But the interview in particular was with Diary of a CEO guy, Stephen Bartlett, and some other dude who worked for Google. And the crux of the conversation was around the displacement AI has, and everyone knows and heard the rumors and stuff, and we've also seen it in the headlines. I want to chat with you about it because you actually work with companies and help them hire people for a living. So it's kind of what you see. I kind of want to hear what you see and not what the headlines tell us. And I guess before getting into that question, I'll talk about what you're seeing. You mentioned earlier, lots has changed since we last spoke. So what are you up to now? And yeah, then we can tackle AI and hiring.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to probably give a little bit more info because I'm guessing a lot of people that are listening don't know my background. So just if we go back to the early 2010s, I started a marketing agency. And like most people at the time, I was hiring people in the Philippines and India because that was where, everybody was going for labor, especially when you're broke and can't afford to hire people in the US. And then after doing that and building a team up in Philippines with about 9 people, I decided, you know what, I can't stay up to 1:00 in the morning anymore. I can't deal with the power going out and every other week and all the challenges that come with that. And I'm living in San Diego, and I was like, you know what, I bet you I can find people down in Mexico, down in Tijuana. And I didn't speak great Spanish back then, but ended up setting up a company down in Mexico, which is like incredibly difficult, and started hiring people for my agency. And we had a couple, people down in Tijuana that we started with, and a couple bumps and bruises along the way, but eventually built a team. And my little marketing agency, I grew that from about 50 clients to over 200 clients. And, with a little team of like 5, 6 people managing all of it. And it was amazing. I personally was driving from my house in San Diego down to Tijuana to the little office that we had down there every single day. I've crossed the border thousands and thousands of times. And so that was great for my little marketing agency. And I started telling people, like, hey, you gotta try and hire people down in Mexico. It's like this hidden gem of talent. And the issue was that it was just really hard for people to set up shop down there and to do it all. And especially when you're remote, like if I had an issue, I could just drive to the office and fix it. If somebody needed a computer, I could literally just go to Best Buy, grab it, and then drive down and give them the computer, So I had that advantage and other people didn't have it. And it was very intimidating for them to get up and running with team members in Mexico as much as they wanted to. Also, back then, it was very, very difficult to pay people because people in Mexico didn't have like PayPal, for example. They could not set it up. And they didn't have a lot of these other platforms that you could pay people through, like Deal or Rippling or these other services. And I had the company in Mexico. So I was able to do a wire transfer from my US bank, which is where I would receive payments from my clients, down to my Mexican bank. And then I could do the payroll transfer to the employees. So long story short, I started an outsourcing company. This is around 2017, helping people to get out access to talent in Mexico. And it was revolutionary back then. So that company ended up growing. 2018 was probably our breakout year. And fast forward 2021, we had, over 100 people working for us. It was great. And then I just kind of like decided to do a little bit of a pivot. And I kind of shifted from doing just the outsourcing into consulting, and helping people to hire people on their own, but also to scale and professionalize their business. That's actually how you and I met. And then let's fast forward to end of last year. I had a client and friend. We'd been friends for almost a decade. He also had a outsourcing company in Mexico, but he wasn't working with marketing agencies. My niche was always marketing agencies, primarily staffing, design, development, project management. So my friend, Chrisman, he had launched an outsourcing company. They started off as like a call center, and have hundreds of employees, zero marketing. Like it was all through relationships. I don't know when this is
Insane.
going to air, but as of June,
Yeah.
we still do not have a website. It is
No.
a horrible one-page landing page with a form. We just updated the form so it goes through high level, by the way. So,
There we go.
it built this 8-figure outsourcing company, went from being a call center to now staffing all kinds of different positions. Um, we typically work with companies that are a little bit bigger, like on the low end, they're around 10 million in annual rev. Um, for the most part, they're, 20 to 500 million a year in rev. And so Crispin approached me last December and said, "Hey, like I want to scale, um, and basically I want you to become the CEO." And I was like completely taken aback. I had no idea that this is what we were going to talk about.
Saw your
And,
intention of the
and he
coffee.
and I had worked together too on some projects in the past. So,
Gotcha.
but he'd just
Okay.
been following me, and you're like, you know, gone to my events and like seen my podcasts, obviously, and knows people that I had also worked with. And he's like, dude, like I've seen what you've been doing. I know where we're headed. I need you to come on board and help us do it because I can't do it. Like I'm not the guy, which is pretty amazing. Like how
Yeah.
incredible,
To have
and
that
how
insight,
how
understanding.
how much humility do you need to be able to
Mhm.
to recognize that in yourself? And so after going through a couple months of due diligence, and I went through everything in the company, just like I did with my consulting clients. I went through all the financials, the team, I went through everything. And we decided like, hey, let's do this. So brought me in as a partner. I'm kind of coming in as the president, and just professionalizing some of the things that have never really been needed to professionalize, and building our business. And honestly, it's so much fun. And what makes it what even more fun is that we have an amazing product. Like this is the outsourcing company that if I were to go back to
Yeah.
2017, I would have done
It's
it
a deeper
exactly
one.
like this.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this in a bit, but like we have the most frictionless sales process in the world, and the
Yeah.
clients that we're working with are great. Like they already know how to hire, they already know how to train, and they're growing very very fast. And basically like we don't require any like deposits. Like you come to us and you say, "Hey, I need these positions. I need, tech support. I need sales. I need cold callers. I need HR. I need accounting, like whatever." And then we say, "Okay, well, this is how much it's going to be. Let's just say 13, $14 an hour." And then they give us the thumbs up, and then we set up interviews. No contract signed, no deposits, nothing. Literally, we just give you interviews, and if you like the people, then we start. And then they work, and then they work for 2 weeks, then we give you your first bill. So like, how amazing is that?
Dude, I love you told me this the other day on the phone, not since I had to have it on the podcast. I'm like, that is the craziest, like, it's an 8-figure business, no website, no fancy about us page or anything like that. And the sales process you just walk through, which is the same when you walk through with me on the phone. I was just like, how? I'm like, I was honestly thinking like, how do I do this in our agency? Like, just send us stuff. We just start doing it for you and we send you a bill. I don't know. Maybe that's what we do. But yeah, I wanted you to come on and share it because I'm just like, I want to get into the AI stuff and hiring all that stuff too. But just that whole process is insane to me. And then the fact that it's been so wildly successful. It makes you think maybe we're all overthinking this, or maybe we're all,
Well,
you know,
I mean,
overcomplicating it.
absolutely. But at the core of it, it's understanding the clients, and like what they want. And then what Crispin and Patty, his wife and partner, what they did so geniusly is they just reverse engineered how to make it work from the business perspective. So like
Mhm.
we run very lean. Like we have a very, very lean and mean team that runs the company. Like we operate like a startup in the sense that we are very conscious of every dollar that gets spent. And it's just such a cool environment, and our clients love us. The other thing, and we're very like upfront about this, transparent about this, is we basically gross a couple bucks an hour from every person that we staff. So we are not basically like trying to get rich off of every single person. It's very much a volume play. So we want everybody to get to like, let's just say 10 agents, right? So for them to be able to do that, they've got to be growing very quickly. We've got to be doing a great job. So we're taking the risk in that, we're only making a couple bucks an hour. We don't even really make a profit until like 3 months into the relationship. And, so like it's very much long-term thinking. And we, on our side, we do an amazing job of recruiting. So let me be clear about this. Like we don't staff entry-level positions. We are basically staffing like, mid-tier, like these people have been doing this for a long time. And so on our side, we pay top dollar. We offer, great benefits and all that good stuff, which attracts better people to us. And then in turn, we have a much better product that we give to our clients. So when our clients come to us, they know that they're getting the best of the best. I was just onboarding actually a new employee this morning. We usually do kind of like a day one, like here's our company, here's how we win together. We even tell them like our margins, like which nobody ever does.
No, no one does. No, that's
Yeah,
good.
we
That's
tell them
that
we're
is
like
interesting.
this is the deal. Like I need you to perform and
Mhm.
do all the things that
Absolutely.
we know that you're capable of. Um, because that's how you're going to win. That's how our client's going to win. That's how our
Sure.
company's going to win. And it's very much long term. Let's get the best of the best. Let's empower them, and
Mm,
then over time, our clients will be like, we need more because they're so amazing. They're so crucial to our business.
yeah.
So yeah, that's our
I
company. That's BPO
I
Solutions Group.
yeah, I love that. And you said mentioned something in there that made me sort of think around like, you mentioned it's not entry level stuff. It's like mid-level. These people have experience, they're quality talent. What are you seeing people hiring the most of right now? In an age where everyone's afraid of jobs going away or being, really ruled out by an AI and Claude and a couple of other bots and agents. Yeah, what do you see? What are you hiring for the most right now?
It's kind of all over the place, honestly. And you bring up a great point because I've actually had some people say like, you're gonna go work for an outsourcing company. Like, I thought everything's
Now?
going to AI, and
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's what the AI companies want you to think.
Mhm.
And this is what's interesting is like there are definitely things that are going to AI. Like from me coming from my agency background, design development. I mean, that's definitely getting impacted by AI as it should. But we just started, a tech support team about a month ago, 35 people. And so they had 35 people in their US operation, and they were experienced. So this, if I were to say like what is getting like what are people hiring for, at least from like an outsourced perspective, it's those middle tier people in the US that are now, because of the cost of living in the US, 60, 70, sometimes $80,000 a year to get the right talent in the US. Like it's really hard to justify keeping those positions when we can have people that are just as capable. Typically what we see when you move, those seats over to Mexico is about a 40, 50, sometimes 60% reduction in labor costs. But you also see a 20% increase in productivity. Our work week here is also 45 hours a week. So you're going to get a little bit more hours. Yeah, you're going to get a few more hours a week out of our team down here. And so when you compare those things, so the quality doesn't drop, obviously, because the standard that you hold them to is the exact same standard that you would in the US. It just doesn't make sense to keep those positions in the US, especially when almost all companies' revenues are down or flat. Costs are going through the roof. It seems like every day the cost of something is going up. And, so like, yeah, we had 35 tech support folks that started with us. We started a team of 10 salespeople last week. We've had a number of executive assistants that just started. Let's see, what else have we had? Appointment setters. We get really, really good appointment setters down here, people that speak perfect English. The other thing, and this is I know this is a little bit of a sensitive subject, but because of all the deportations, whether that be ICE deportations or self-deportations, because we're on the border here in Tijuana, we get a lot of people that essentially grew up in the US that are as American as me and you. They just didn't happen to be born in the US. And so for them to try and find a path back to their life in the US, they'll self-deport and then try and find that. Well, while they're here, they can build a really, really nice career with us. And they've already got, like the cultural understanding of American work ethic and personal accountability, things like that. And so, it's a great place for them to land. And so we get a lot of people applying to work with us. I think we get over like 1,000 applications a month.
That is it's so interesting to see because, like, like we were saying before, like, we hear the headlines, but there's still people hiring. There's still a need for humans, maybe less humans in the future coming to us, sooner rather than later, but you still need people. For all these positions you mentioned. So I think there's still a and the here, like, the caliber of companies you work with, like, they're still hiring, be it less, but they're still in need of talent. And I live here in the Midwest, and it's like, the companies that I see are the older and more established ones are very comfortable, and their employees, just, from what I understand and, like, talk to people in the community and the other business owners, so, like, there's just, like, kind of like a complacency that I've seen with older, more senior, and I'm not saying older like 50, 60, I'm saying like 35 to 50, more senior type of workers and labor, here in the Midwest, where they're happy making 50, 60, 70 grand a year, and it's comfortable. However, we are seeing costs raise up. I can tell you just as a person living here. And also it's like you're saying, like, you can probably find that similar position or someone in Central America, Mexico or somewhere else, that can do the same job for 40, 50% less. So it's getting I do see a bit of a complacency here that will unfortunately likely get replaced or get, like, you don't want people to get the rug pulled out from underneath them, but you've seen it happen before. So it's interesting to hear companies aren't stupid. Like, they're moving and trying to figure out, like, well, if we can get better talent here, plus
Right.
AI makes us much more
So,
lenient.
yeah. So here's another thing that we've seen. This isn't super recent, but this is always like when you are a growing company and you don't have unlimited, you know, funds, you're always trying to balance, like I know that I need these 5 to 10 new hires like yesterday, but I only have the budget to hire 2 to 3 people. And so, like, what am I going to do? Am I going to cut expenses somewhere? Am I going to take out a loan? Am I, because the cost to hire in the US or the cost to hire in the US. It's just, it is what it is. We are essentially an alternative where you can get the talent that you need and stay within the budget that you have available. And ultimately you'll get the outcome that's going to push the company to grow. The other thing that we're doing is support staff for US based team members, because maybe you have that. So maybe you have that $100,000 a year person in the US and they're just maxed to capacity. And you can't afford another $100,000 person like them as much as you would like. Well, let's place, a couple $12, $13 an hour folks to support your $100,000 a year person, and maybe still leverage technology like AI. And now we can get 3 to maybe 5x productivity out of that little team at a very, very insignificant cost, right? Because people forget that AI is just a tool, and it'll allow you to perform at a higher level if you know how to use that tool. It's still going to be a person, though. There's still a person that's going to be, flipping the switch and making
Mhm.
the decisions.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's getting close, but it's not quite there. Like, for example, I recently started using a tool called Victor inside of
Mm-hmm.
Slack,
Mm-hmm.
and it's when you connect it to ClickUp and your calendar and your
Mm-hmm.
email, like it can draft emails, it can move stuff on your calendar, it can reach out to people and book calls. So it takes that, but I still have my
Mm-hmm.
assistant to
Yeah.
do the payment stuff and do a lot of the other high level functions. It's actually made her more efficient because now she can go and use it.
Right.
So like there's still an assistant. I think it's like you said, it's now enhanced the human and made them more efficient.
Yeah, and
So
that's
yeah.
ultimately where a lot of our placements are falling. It's like we're that human element to the AI, where you still need a very intelligent, experienced person to make the final call or be that final touch point for the client. Um, and so, like we are busier than ever. I mean, we've placed over 70 folks in the last 60 days. And yeah, and I mean, these are companies that are growing very, very fast. So they're still hiring out there. It's just, we just give them the best alternative. And when, and for those that are, kind of doubting the capabilities of the talent here in Mexico, that's why that's why we give them the ability to just do the interviews. It's like, hey, like, why don't you just interview some people, and you can see for yourself the talent level. And if you like them, just say yes. Otherwise, no harm, no foul. Maybe we'll get you on the next one.
Yeah. That's such a simple sales. That's such a great sales process. Like the way you guys have engineered it. So it's frictionless, right? It's no
Yes,
commitment, super
exactly.
frictionless.
Yeah.
Um, what I want to dive into what your plans are as kind of the new president coming in to grow a business with no website, but an amazing sales process. And yeah, I want to kind of hear your thoughts and how you're thinking through it. But before we get there, are there certain industries that you see hiring more than others? Are there certain industries that you think in the next couple of years, based on what you kind of on the front lines of hiring, are going to boom for you?
So the ones that we have that are doing very, very well are typically like medical and healthcare. We see those ones growing a lot. Um, we work a lot with private equity groups as well. And so they usually have a portfolio of clients. PE comes in and they're all about growth, growth, growth. So I might have a little bit skewed perspective as to what's growing, but like from our clients that we see that are growing very fast, medical, healthcare, financial services is growing a lot. Um, also can't tell you exactly who the clients are because that's
Sure.
confidential, but
Fair enough.
certain
Yeah.
aspects of financial are growing very quickly.
Yep.
SaaS. So this is the irony, is that we have some SaaS companies that are coming to us, and SaaS is supposed to be all AI everything, right? But they are also seeing that there is a need for people, right? Like, and I don't know if you're seeing this personally, but there is absolutely a backlash towards AI, and it's kind of like a black swan, where I don't think it's going to be adopted. and it's completely irrational in my opinion. Like it is very emotional based. That I think that we're going to start seeing a bigger backlash towards AI technology from people, and I think that they're going to want to start working with humans.
Yeah. Um,
So the SaaS companies are coming to us in droves, especially if it's
yeah.
consumer facing SaaS. If it's a consumer facing
Mhm.
software, they are absolutely coming to us needing support. Let's see. There's another role that we are placing a lot of right now, which we didn't see this a year ago, accounting. So we're seeing a lot of companies coming to us basically needing staff accountants, controller, junior controller. Um, and these are people that have worked with American companies. They understand, GAAP accounting. They already know QuickBooks or whatever, Zero, whatever it is that you're using. Those roles are coming to us because, we placed a controller a couple weeks ago. This person was running a $400 million oil and gas company cross border. He's $23 an hour. Like in the US, this guy's
Crazy.
hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Yeah, he's a C-level executive, basically,
Yeah,
right?
as a C-level executive. So those ones, people that are growing and they're like, hey, we need a full-time in-house accountant because the outsourced CFO solution that we were using just isn't cutting it anymore. We need somebody that's actually in our business every single day. HR, like we're getting a lot of people that need HR assistance as well. And let's see, what are the home services? We get a lot of home service companies that still need appointment setters,
Okay, so like
live appointment
roofers,
setters. Yep,
roofers, painters, like we need people to set appointments for
yep.
sales and stuff like that. Okay.
Roofers, plumbers, painters. And again, these are high growth companies that are
Yeah.
investing in their marketing. Even though we know that all of those industries are down, these companies see the opportunity and they're turning up their marketing. And so they need a human to reach out to the leads and start booking appointments. We have a roofing company actually out of Florida. They were hiring people in the Midwest and they could not find anybody that would do the work, that would make the calls. Like 3 months hiring, multiple US based appointment setters, didn't book anything. They get 2 people from us and they have never had more leads booked in their entire life. I mean, these are actual like inbound leads. So the guys that started it were marketers. And so they were generating leads, and all the people needed to do was follow up and just book the time for the guy to go out and do the roofing inspection.
Oh, that's
Nobody could
crazy.
do it. And
Is
and our guys are booking like 30 appointments a week. 2
Yeah.
people.
Oh my gosh. Now you have a sales background, Chris. What
Yes.
do you think is you any idea as to why that is? I'm just super curious to hear your thought. Obviously, there's only limited context of what you have based on your
Why they
experience.
can't find people in the US to do it?
What,
Or
yeah, like what was it a skill gap? Was it a hustle gap? I'm just yeah.
I think it's a hustle gap. Based on what I know. Maybe their hiring process wasn't as good as ours too. So
Mhm.
maybe they weren't able to screen people the way that we can. Appointment setting is hard. It's just very difficult. And I don't know what they were paying, but it was probably like 16, 17, 18 bucks an hour plus, a bonus to set the appointment. Um, Maybe the people were just like, it's just not worth it. They do it for a couple days and they're like, oh, this sucks. And they're like, I could go make more money at, I don't know if you have In and Out, but like In and Out is now paying like $22 an hour. It's a burger joint here in California. Maybe they're like for the aggravation and just how difficult it is to be an appointment setter, I can just go do something else and make more money. I don't know. You have to keep that in mind too, that people in the US have options. You know, maybe they can do Fiverr work and make more than that. So I honestly don't know. I don't want to be the guy that says that nobody in the US wants to work because I don't think that that's true.
No. No, yeah, yeah, we know. Yeah, I'm just curious here to hear your perspective on it because it's their inbound leads. I mean, goodness, like you're not doing cold outbound.
You would think it's
So
like,
they
shooting fish in a barrel, but for some reason they couldn't find the folks.
Yeah.
And my people are hungry. So I'll just be very like transparent. Like they're getting paid, I think it's around 14.50 an hour, and then they get, I think it's like $5 an appointment is their bonus.
I
And
mean,
these people are hustling, dude.
yeah.
Hustling.
I mean, hey, if you live in the if you don't have anything else, if you have limited options, and like this is that's a green light path to making a lot of money in a good spot. So and
Yeah.
they're in
Oh,
Mountain
yeah.
View.
This is
So
an amazing job opportunities for these folks. They take it very, very seriously. Like that's the benefit of hiring seasoned professionals is that this is not a, temporary job for them. One of the gentlemen that's on this campaign, specific one, he's been doing this for almost 20 years. Just had a baby like 3 weeks ago too. So this is what he's going to do for his life, or at least for the foreseeable future. He's very, very motivated. He's got to take care of his wife and new son. And like, this is what he's passionate about. It's not a temporary thing. And, and this job, this is the other thing that a lot of American companies that are a little bit smaller don't recognize is that your employees in the US just look at you as a stepping stone. Like when I was working in the marketing, when all my clients were marketing agencies, they would hire folks and these folks would be like, I'm going to work with you until I can get that job at Amazon, you know? So I'll accept your $80,000 a year, knowing in the back of my head that I'm going to use this to get the $150,000 a year or the $200,000 a year job in the next 6 to 12 months. It's very comforting to know that you are not the stepping stone anymore. That this person is coming to work for you and they want to work for you for the long term. Like you are it, and they're going to do everything humanly possible to keep their job and then do a better job so that, there's promotion opportunities and raises and things like that. So that's just kind of like a psychological thing that comes with hiring people that are just hungrier in a different country.
no, that totally makes sense. It tracks with my experience too. Being coming like hiring like now we primarily hire from Central America, so that's like Mexico, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, sometimes South America too. But that's last 2 years. That's where we focus our energy on because we have really great teammates from there. So not to say the other ones aren't great too. But it's been harder, I think, in my experience.
Right.
So
Right.
I want to switch gears a little bit here
Mhm.
and just talk a little bit. I want to understand your thought process because you were my coach for almost 2 years, and I learned a lot under you. And I want to kind of see, you know, what's your thought process in building this business now? Like, if you could walk me through mentally, kind of like how
Yeah,
you've laid it
totally.
out in your head.
So, our goal at my consulting company was always to identify some companies that have the ability to scale, and then ultimately help those folks to exit. And we would broker the deals and basically make a commission off of helping them to sell. For the minimum that we would do was like $5 million on the exit, but we were really looking for those companies that could sell for 10 million plus. When Crispin approached me and said, "Hey, do you want to be a part of the company?" We do have a goal of building this company and selling it. Now, part of the reason why they're bringing me on is because when we do sell the company, I will be going with the company to the new owners, and who knows what happens, right? Like maybe I will help facilitate the next acquisition that we do, or so. For me, the mission of being able to help a company to scale and exit was kind of still the same. It was just in a much different capacity. And so the things that I've done with BPO in my first 4 months are kind of the exact same things that I was doing with you and with other folks. It's, going back through the financials. It's identifying the team, identifying the roles and responsibilities. A big push that we have now is lead generation, right? Like we need to have a lead generation system. And so we're doing some things to test out cold lead generation and testing, looking at the numbers, seeing what works, da, 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 da. we got to get the website up, So like
Finally get a website.
these
Yeah.
are all things that I've been doing for the past, 4 years.
True.
It's just now I have skin in the game,
Yeah.
like I'm a partner in the business. Um, and like when I saw the product and the sales process that we have already, I was like, man, this is awesome. Like we're going to blow this thing. And I'm starting to build out team members. Like I'm bringing in team members to help us scale, which is also really, really fun. And yeah, so I mean, like the things that I've been doing for the past few years. It's just now I have a much more clear path to, a more senior leadership role within the company. And I have equity in the company as well.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. A lot of what you just shared kind of reminds me of what we worked through, and just clarity around defining roles, defining positions, looking at financials, making decisions based on the actual data, and then lead generation. Because like you mentioned, I don't really think you had to fix the sales process in this.
Right.
That sales process I've heard
It's
of
more
in a
so an
while.
awareness. It's just an awareness. Not to brag, but I did a podcast 2 weeks ago, and the owners have never done, like Crispin has never done a podcast interview in his
What?
life. He's never
Oh
been on a
man.
podcast.
Ah,
He and I are going to start a podcast, and I'll be
good.
reaching out to you about that because we're going to need your help with that. But he and I are going to start a podcast, and our goal is to interview, like some of our ideal clients, private equity firms, things like that. But did a podcast interview a couple weeks ago, and I booked 5 leads, and we're looking for staff for 2 of them right now. So like it is so much just an awareness, and like you tell people about what we do, and they're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
Like,
You expect more.
you're not
More,
going to
yeah,
make me
do it.
put down
Like,
a deposit to
yeah.
do the interviews or nothing? Like,
No, yeah.
no, no, man. And they cost how much? And then you're going to bill me after the fact? Like I get to have them work for me for 2 weeks, and then you're going to send me a bill? And I'm like, yeah, dude, like that's how it works. So, like developing awareness going on podcast interviews like this is like, some of the big things that I have to do, but it's just so fun, man. Like I'm telling you, like, it is, I get so excited to wake up every day and to start chipping away at this thing. Um, and you know, it's good for my soul.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And, it's funny. So I want to touch on that because I think the reason I want to make a guess, somewhat educated guess of like the reason why that is, the reason why it feels so aligned with you, and you know, uh, is because the things are in place. Like the business is really really good and it's set and it's on the right trajectory. Like it's not like you have like headache employees and there's like a bad money model and stuff like that. Like you've kind of now it's just adding gasoline to the fire. So yeah, I would guess if those things were out of alignment, then it wouldn't be as fun maybe.
What's also interesting is that I've had after people have learned that I've taken this role and become a partner in the company and things like that. I've had other people reach out to me and be like, "Dude, I've been thinking about doing this. Like, I'm thinking about you know stopping what I'm doing because it's just a grind and I don't enjoy it." Or they're actually worried about AI. Like there's a lot of consultants that are out there right now that are thinking about shutting it down because AI, like their clients are just going to AI and getting all the answers. And a lot of those answers are the same ones that they would give them for, 2,500, $5,000 a month. So that is a legitimate threat. But like you mentioned, like I saw the company and we've had a relationship. I've had a relationship with Kristen and Patty for almost a decade, so like we've been friends. They came to my wedding, like, so that made it much easier too, that I knew the company. And when I saw how amazing the business is already with
Mhm.
almost doing nothing, like,
Love it.
I mean, they
Yeah,
built
yeah.
an amazing business, but like from a
Yeah.
marketing perspective, there's like nothing. Um, and my experience of just doing this exact thing for hundreds of other companies in the past, it was just so easy. I was just like, this feels like the right thing that I need to do for where I'm at. There's a very, very nice pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and it's going to be super fun. And, like obviously my pay along the way is very, very nice. Um, and it's just exciting. It's just fun and it's exciting. And I'm excited to be on board and to start spreading the word about what we do. And the next 3 years are going to be very, very quick growth, but it's all going to be worth it.
Well, I'm excited to watch yeah, just I'll be on sidelines, but I'll be sending people your way when it's a fit for them, because it's like such an easy thing, easy value proposition for you guys. Chris, I want to ask you one last question, and as I grow this new Growth Triggers podcast, put more energy into it than I used to, try to figure out a signature question, but I'll go with this one. If there's one thing that someone listening out there, let's just say they're that consultant who's kind of like on the edge about AI and not sure about they're shutting it down or whether they should or not. What's the one question you would ask them to help them to kind of look at themselves in the mirror and say, like, should I continue the course or should I shut it all down? If there's a question you would ask somebody that was your coaching client or something along those lines, what would it be?
This is a good one.
Maybe a little bit of a loaded one, but
no. It's because it's hard to wrap it up into one question, right?
If there's multiple, go for it.
I would ask yourself, based on the stage of life that you're in, what do you want to do? Because it's different, like I'm married, I don't have children. We're not going to have children, right? If I was married and I had 2 young kids, and or if I had 2 kids who are actually going into college or something like that, maybe my decision would be different, but with where I'm at, I'm ready to go back into the grind and work 60, 70 hours a week. I'm well compensated for that, obviously, but the time and the travel, so like we're going to start going to conferences, and we want to start doing a conference, at least one conference a month, and you've gone to conferences before, you've spoken, it's a lot of work. It almost takes like a week to recover from the conference. Taking clients out, like I'm in our office in Tijuana this morning. I left my house at 4:30 in the morning because I had a meeting here at 5 a.m. And so, yeah, and I was on vacation this past weekend. So, but I didn't get home until 6:30 last night, ate dinner, went to bed, woke up at 3:30 and got ready and drove down. So these are things that I'm willing to do based on the stage of life that I'm in right now. So I think that if you're not seeing that what you're doing now aligns with what you want out of life, you need to do some soul searching and figure out, like, what do I want to be doing right now? And maybe it's joining a company, and maybe you can find an opportunity like I did, come in as a partner. Maybe there's a very clear trajectory. Maybe they've got a great company. There's a lot of things that you can do. I do think you need to be honest with yourself about whether your business model is going to be viable in the next, even in the next 2 years. I do believe that there's an AI bubble coming, and it's going to burst hard. I think most people think that.
When you say AI bubble, you mean like the AI companies are going to kind of be at this precipice of then suddenly dropping in value, or like the workers?
I think that's happening. No, okay. I think that the AI companies are trying to sell themselves as something that they are not yet able to do, or that they will never be able to do. There are some that are going to revolutionize the world, but every single AI company says that they're going to revolutionize the world. It's just not possible. There's not enough need. There's not enough talent to be able to do it. You've also got to time it right? So like every AI company is getting funding, and they're hyping themselves up and da-da-da-da. What goes up must come down. It's just not going to, boom forever. People are going to figure out what are the good products and what are not the good products. And like from a marketing perspective, almost all industries, it's a two horse race, right? There's 2 industry leaders, and then everybody else shares the crumbs. That's what ends up happening with everything. Coke and Pepsi, you know, Ford and Chevy if you're American cars. Um, what are the Japanese? Toyota and Honda. So like that's going to happen in the AI world too. And so getting back to the original thing, like if you're not sure about your place in the world, look at the things that are going to change, but also look at the things that are going to stay the same over the next 2 years and see if your business aligns with that. And also from, like I said, like ask yourself where you're at and like, do you want to do this?
Yeah. Yeah. Bigger question there. That's one you can't ask a prompt an AI to answer for you. Chris, thanks so much for coming on, man. It's always fun talking to you.
Thank you.
Seriously, like I always enjoy it. And for those who are interested in exploring what you guys do at BPO,
Yeah.
what's the best place, assuming the website's not up by the time this
Well,
goes live?
there's a
Yeah,
landing page and a form. So
landing
you
page.
could go you could go to bposolutionsgroup.com. That's B is in Bravo, P is in Paul, O is in October, solutionsgroup.com. You can also just email me, Chris, CHRIS at bposolutionsgroup.com, and more than happy to have a conversation. As literally, like I mentioned this before, that's our sales process. Let's just have a
Yeah.
conversation, see who you need. I will preface this that, you do need to be a little bit more seasoned, a little bit bigger, like it's not that we don't take clients on that are under 10 million. But our best clients are a little bit bigger and they're growing a little bit faster. The biggest thing that we're looking for in a client is somebody that has experience hiring and training. Because, we find the talent, we screen the talent based on what you need. It's your job to train them. And so you do need to have some experience there. Otherwise, it's just, like we could give you the best player in the world. But if you can't coach them, then they're not going to be able to thrive. And this is somebody's livelihood. Like they are also, anytime you hire, doesn't matter where you hire, they are investing in your company because they have personal goals that they want to hit and they're believing in you and trusting in you. And so it is your duty as an owner to put them in the best position to be successful. So, if you're interested, just reach out to me and we can have a conversation and see if it's a good fit. And just take it from there. Like, more than happy to chat with anybody who has a need and wants to talk.
Love it. Chris, dude, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Love being here.